The movie tells the story of the future where humans are looking for a planet. And on this new planet, people suddenly have strange powers. Suddenly, all the men could reveal the contents of their minds in the form of images and sounds so that everyone could see what the men were thinking. Todd Hewitt is one of them, living in a colony called Prentisstown. The town is run by Mayor David Prentice. Todd lives with his father Ben and his uncle Cillian, who has taken care of him since childhood. There is not a single woman in Prentisstown because, according to Mayor David's story, right after Todd was born, a creature native to this new world planet called Speakle attacked Prentisstown and killed all the women in Prentisstown. One day, Todd was walking in the woods with his dog, Manch. Todd was often in the woods because he could not control his noise. He was embarrassed if someone else heard his thoughts. Suddenly, a priest named Aaron, who lived in Prentisstown, passed by on horseback. Young Todd tried to control his thoughts so as not to make fun of Pastor Aaron's appearance, but he failed. The noise in Todd's head made a loud noise that Aaron heard. An angry Aaron immediately got off the horse and struck Todd. Aaron called Todd a weak child like a woman. Todd replied that he had never seen a woman in his life. Todd then went to the town. He meets the mayor's daughter, Devi. Here, Devi immediately insults Todd by saying that Todd is a poor, useless person. Todd, not accepting this, brought out the illusion of a snake from his noise. Everyone was shocked. Then Mayor David came. David even scolded his son, who was always bothering Todd. David praised Todd's ability to create illusions out of his noise. One day, David wanted to invite Todd to join the city's security force. Todd was pleased with the praise. To Todd, David is a cool leader. Todd then returned to his home in the mountains. Todd told his father that he wanted to join the city security forces under David's leadership. But Ben said that David was not a good person. Long story short, Todd took David and his men to the site of the plane wreckage. David asked Todd what the surviving crew member looked like. Todd replied that he could not clearly see the person's appearance. Todd also told him that he couldn't hear the person's sound. David immediately understood that the surviving crew member was a woman. David immediately told his men to split up and search for the surviving crew member. While everyone was busy searching, Todd accidentally encountered the surviving crew member. It was a woman. Todd was amazed because it was the first time in his life that he had ever seen a woman. In his excitement, Todd accidentally caused his mind to make a noise that David heard about the woman's whereabouts. The woman immediately ran off. In the middle of the forest, David used his noise to create the illusion of a fence. The woman was eventually caught. David took the woman to the town hall for questioning. The woman claimed her name was Viola. David also explained that on this planet, all men emit noise, which is the content of thoughts that can be heard and seen by everyone, while women have no noise. David also said that a long time ago, the original inhabitants of the planet, called Speakle, attacked this colony and killed all the women here. David then asked Viola where she was from. Viola told him that she was one of the officers sent to track down the first wave of planes that lost contact 65 years ago. Viola was told to investigate the fate of the human colony in the first wave. Viola told him that there was a second wave of motherships outside the planet's atmosphere, carrying 4,000 humans. When David heard this, he immediately excused himself because he wanted to meet someone. David asked his son Devi to keep an eye on Viola. After David left, a curious Devi tried to get close to Viola. He searched Viola's bag and was interested in one item. Viola told Devi to give the object back, but Devi didn't care. Devi then pressed the object, causing it to fire a laser gun and destroy the surrounding area. Viola uses this to escape. Hiding under a building, Viola overhears David's conversation with Aaron, who is planning to capture the second wave of carriers. While everyone is busy searching for Viola, Todd instead goes inside, where Viola is being held. Curious, Todd took Viola's bag and then took it home. When Todd was about to put the bag in the warehouse, He was surprised to see Viola hiding there. Outside, Ben calls Todd to help him in the fields. Todd also told Viola doesn't have to worry. Todd told Viola to stay hidden in the warehouse because everyone was looking for her. As Todd left, one of David's men came looking for Viola. Todd also tried hard to control his noise so that Viola's existence would not be discovered. Ben also realized that Todd was hiding something. Ben immediately helped Todd by saying that they didn't see any women coming here. David's men then left. Todd then told Ben and Cillian that Viola was hiding in the warehouse. Ben, panicking, invited the others to confer in the house. In the warehouse, Viola saw an old motorcycle. Todd begged Ben and Cillian to help him hide Viola. Cillian also said that if Todd insisted on helping Viola, he would tell Todd to take her away because Viola would not be safe here. However, Todd is confused. He does not know where to go. Ben shows him a map. Ben tells him that there is another human community nearby called Far Branch and that Todd can ask for help there. However, Cillian disagrees because the place is very dangerous. The people of Far Branch hate the people of Prentice Town. Ben also told Todd not to tell anyone about his heritage after he arrived in the Far Branch community. While Todd prepares his horse, Ben gives Todd a bag of supplies. Suddenly, David and his men come looking for Viola. Inside the warehouse, Viola tries to fix the old motorcycle so she can escape. Outside, David questions Todd and Viola. Todd tries to control his noise, but fails. Todd, who is panicking, makes his noise to give a clue that Viola is in the warehouse. When the warehouse door is opened, Viola immediately hits the gas to escape. Ben also tells Todd to use his horse to catch up with Viola. In the midst of the chaos, Devi shoots Cillian. In the forest, Todd tries to catch up with Viola. Viola continues to ride fast, even though there is a ravine ahead of her. Viola and Todd fall into the ravine. Viola's motorcycle is badly damaged, while the horse Todd is riding has broken bones. Todd was forced to kill his horse so that it would not suffer. Todd then tried to explain that he was trying to help Viola. Todd knew that he would take Viola to a safe place, namely Far Branch. Who knows, Viola might be able to contact her mother's ship there. Finally, Viola agreed to go with Todd. Elsewhere, David forces Ben to help him find Todd and Viola. If he refuses, David threatens to kill Todd. David and his men then take all the weapons in the armory to hunt down Todd and Viola. In the middle of the forest, Todd's dog, Manch, seems to be following Todd and Viola. They rest by the river. Todd then catches a fish for dinner. See Todd, when it was difficult to make a fire, Viola helped by using her own tool that could easily make a fire. Viola was happy because it was the first time she had eaten real fish. Until now, she had eaten lab-made food on the plane. Todd was confused. He thought that Viola was from Earth, but it turned out that Viola was born on the plane. Viola also told him that the distance between Earth and this planet was 64 years. Viola said that those who really came from Earth were her grandparents. The deteriorating condition of Earth made her grandparents decide to travel to this planet. Todd then asked, "Are Viola's parents currently on board?" Instead of answering, Viola remained silent. Todd then saw noises coming from Speckle in the distance. Todd also told Viola to avoid them. Todd tells her that Speckle are the original inhabitants of this planet and are very dangerous. They used to kill all the women in their colony, including Todd's mother. New World is a planet with 2 suns. Even though it's night, the planet is still bright. Todd decides to rest and take shelter from the rain. Viola then tells him that her parents died on the plane due to illness. Before they died, they had hoped that Viola would feel at home on the planet New World. However, after arriving, Viola was disappointed because life on the planet New World was not as beautiful as she had imagined. The next day, Todd and Viola continued their journey. However, they accidentally passed through Speckle territory. They also encountered the Speckle in the river. Todd tried to hide. but because of Todd's noise, they were eventually caught. The Speckle dragged Todd along. Fortunately, Todd was able to escape. Todd tried to defend himself, but he was thrown away. Viola then saw Speckle attack Todd, but Speckle did not attack her. Todd then fought Speckle in the river. Todd attacks the Speckle blindly. As Todd tries to kill the creature, Viola screams to stop him. The Speck eventually ran away without fighting back. Todd then asked, "Why did Viola stop it?" Viola said that she felt that Speckle was not an evil creature. Speckle looked very strong. It could have killed Todd, but it did not. It just wanted to drive them away. To make a long story short, Todd and Viola arrived at Far Branch. However, the place looks deserted. There are only animals running around. Suddenly, a little girl appeared, followed by a teenage boy. They took Todd and Viola to the mayor of Far Branch. Todd was surprised because there are many women in this colony. They live side by side with the men. The mayor of Far Branch is also a woman named Hildy. Hildy also asked where Todd and Viola were from. Todd tried not to answer, but Viola and said that they were from Prentice Town. When they heard this, all the Far Branch people were angry. Some of the men wanted to execute Todd, because according to the rules, Prentice Town residents who dared to come here would be put to death. But Hildy stopped them. Hildy said that the law only applied to adult men, and Todd was still a teenager. Hildy sent all the men away and told Todd and Viola to stay in her house. After Todd and Viola bathed and dressed, Hildy invited them over for dinner. Viola then asked if the communication equipment here was still active. Viola wanted to contact the mothership in the planet's atmosphere. Hildy replied that her colony did not have any intercolony communication equipment, let alone space communication equipment. Viola was disappointed. If she didn't contact the mothership would think she was dead and move on to the next planet, leaving Viola stranded on this planet forever. Hildy told her that there was probably a communication device in the city of Haven. It was the first city founded by humans on this planet. Hildy gives Todd and Viola directions to the town of Haven. At night, Todd, unable to sleep, meets Viola, who is still awake. Todd shows her his mother's journal, which is in his pocket. Ben must have put the diary in the bag. Todd cannot read the contents of the journal, so Viola offers to read it. On the first page of the journal was gratitude for having a child. On the next page, Todd's mother wrote about David's proposal to build a new settlement in the middle of the forest. All was well at first, but over time the men couldn't stand it because the women could see into their minds. David and the priest Aaron led the men in the settlement to slaughter the women. According to Aaron, women do not make noise because they have no souls. Death was shocked. It turned out that all along it was not Speckle who had killed his mother, but David and priest Aaron. An emotional Todd immediately ran into the woods to find David and take revenge. Todd then saw that David and his men had made it to Far Branch. Todd immediately returned. Realizing that David and his men were coming, Hildy told the men to take their weapons and told the women and children to hide. Hildy then came out and faced David. David also demanded that Hildy hand over Viola. Hildy firmly refused to obey David's orders. David also tried to sway the other residents. David said that Viola was a spy from the second wave colony who would attack the wave colony. Elsewhere, a man is affected by David's speech. He encounters Viola, who is alone in Hildy's house. Outside, a Far Branch resident shouts that David is a liar. The man is immediately shot by David's men. Seeing this, the other Far Branch residents were terrified. They eventually surrendered. Todd then entered the house to meet Viola. Todd saw a strange man tied up. Viola immediately told Todd to leave. Outside, Aaron saw them. Todd and Viola immediately entered the warehouse where the residents were hiding. As Aaron approached, a woman outside shot him. David told Ben to get Viola. David promised that if Ben did, David would release Todd. Ben immediately entered the hiding place. Inside, Todd scolded Ben for not telling him about his mother's real death all this time. Ben also apologizes. He only wants to protect Todd. Outside, David, impatient, wants to break into the warehouse. Ben comes out carrying Viola. At first, David was happy that Viola was caught. However, it turns out that Viola's figure is just a sound illusion created by Ben. Meanwhile, Todd and the real Viola escape into the woods. Seeing Aaron chasing them from behind, Todd and Viola immediately board the boat. Aaron then took his horse into the river to chase Todd. Apparently, there is a waterfall ahead. Todd and Viola fell into the waterfall, causing their boat to overturn. The horse Aaron was riding was also swept away. Todd tells Viola to hold on to the boat to keep from drowning. Todd then looked for his dog, Manchi. From a distance, Todd sees Aaron strangling Manchi. Todd tries to help but cannot because the current is very strong. After he is safe again, Todd cries for Manchi. For all this time, Manchi has been the only friend who has stayed with him. Todd and Viola continued their journey. Then they saw a pylon under construction. Viola remembers seeing the design of this pole on the plane. This pole will support the cable car line. Todd also said that they must be near the town of Haven. Todd and Viola continued their journey. They both saw the wreckage of a large aircraft carrier. Just like the mothership Viola was on, it was the mothership that brought the first wave of colonists to this planet. From a distance, Todd and Viola saw the sound of David and his men. Todd also invited Viola to continue the journey to Haven City. However, Viola felt that there was no more time. Viola also had an idea. She will look for the communication module in this plane wreck. Who knows, the device might still work. So Viola can contact her mother plane. The two of them then climb down a rope into the wreckage. After exploring the wreckage of the mothership for a while, Viola finally managed to find the communication module. However, after turning it on, it turned out that the communication module could not be used because the antenna was not connected. Upon inspection, it turned out to be true. The communication antenna cable was disconnected. Todd offered to fix the antenna upstairs while Viola went outside to keep an eye on the comm module. David and his troops finally saw Todd going upstairs. David immediately ordered his men to surround the plane while he lured Todd upstairs. After a painstaking climb, Todd was finally able to connect the antenna cable. Inside, Viola saw that the antenna cable was reconnected. As Viola was about to send a message, she was suddenly attacked by Aaron. A fierce fight ensued. Viola panicked and threw a lighter at Aaron, setting his body on fire. Aaron, who was in pain, immediately ran away. Viola then continued to send messages to her mothership. Outside, David told Todd to come out. If not, he would kill Ben. Todd was finally forced to go to David. David told Todd to hand over Viola, but Todd remained silent. An enraged David immediately shot Ben in the chest. Todd immediately approached Ben. Ben, who was dying, handed Todd a knife. Todd immediately attacked David with the knife. When he wanted to kill David, Todd couldn't because he wasn't a killer. David immediately fought back. From a distance, David saw a red light. It was a communication signal from Viola. When David was surprised, Todd immediately ran away. But David managed to shoot him. The wounded Todd then hid. Inside the hideout, as he endured the pain, Todd tried to control his screams so as not to be caught. But he failed. David had already seen Todd's noise. Todd then came out to attack David. However, it turned out that it was just an illusion of David's noise. David also attacked Todd until he was helpless. As David was about to shoot Todd, he heard the voice of Todd's mother from behind him. Suddenly, the figures of the women David had slaughtered appeared. It was all an illusion of Todd's noise. Viola then came and attacked David, causing him to fall into the wreckage of the plane. Moments later, the second wave of planes finally landed on the planet. Devi and the other residents of Prentice Town were terrified. They decided to flee. Todd then passed out because he had lost a lot of blood. Long story short, Todd woke up in the mothership with Viola beside him. Todd looked out the window. He saw that there were many people who had landed in that second wave. Viola also said that she and the occupants of that plane had decided to live on the planet New World. The movie has ended, and thank you for watching this video.